How do I get this 401k? Because I heard I'm entitled to it and his tax money.
Apparently, Miss Daniel, what is the basis and your authority to get that? I don't understand. You're just telling me what you want. You haven't given me a basis as to why you should be able to receive that.
I need to pay off my debt and I need to get a car so.
She thought she was entitled to everything, but the judge had to put the brakes on her demands, something she clearly wasn't expecting. She genuinely believed that by the end of the hearing, she'd have her hands on part of his money, but things didn't go the way she had planned.
How do I get this 401k? Because I heard I'm entitled to it and his tax money.
Court will note that this matter is before the court on the plaintiff's motion for 401k and tax return. That's what you're asking for. Apparently, Miss Daniel, what is the basis and your authority to get that? I don't understand. You're just telling me what you want. You haven't given me a basis as to why you should be able to receive that.
I need to pay off my debt in order to get a house for me and my kids. And I need to get a car so that way I have transportation for me and my children.
Okay. You still have to establish a basis for it. You have in your pending case, you have discovery that's still open and through May 1st of 2023. And the case will progress as the case normally progresses. So for instance, what happens is we don't allow people in that to piecemeal a divorce case out like, okay, I want to get a hold of this, for instance, or I want to attach this bank account. We basically wait until we have a resolution of the case, and then we divide up the particular assets. So not to say you can't on a temporary basis that you couldn't file for something,
Yes.
but I can't give you any legal advice, but it's up to you to establish what you want and the basis for receipt of what you want as well. So anything else that you can tell me other than you want to get a hold of that?
I have to provide for my kids and stuff. And that's the only way,
Or she could get a job. She wants child support for all 4 of her kids, but are they all his? If she had kids before they got married, he may not be responsible for those kids. When she said, "my kids, not our kids," I thought, not all his. They were married 6 years. She isn't getting any alimony or part of his 401k. If the children are biologically his, she can get child support.
Well, ma'am, what you can do is you can always file to get child support. And
that's what I want to do, sir. I want to get child support for all 4 of my kids.
Okay, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to file a motion seeking child support. You can basically, in the motion, set forth the factual basis as to why you're entitled to child support. Obviously, they're his kids, he's required to pay child support, but you'd have to state to the court, for instance, that he hasn't paid you anything. I don't know, because I'll tell you what happens in these cases. He could come in and he could file an answer and say, no, I've been paying her all along, and here's my receipts or what my canceled checks or whatever. I don't know until the matter is before me. That is not before me today. So you're going to have to file a motion. He can then respond, and then we will address it. And so you can file that for any Monday with 9 days notice, any Monday at 10:30, and then we can address it at that particular time. Okay?
Okay, now in the meantime, how do I get this 401k? Because I heard I'm entitled to it and his tax money.
She barely paid attention to what the judge was saying. Her main focus was walking out of that hearing with something, and she made that very clear. I don't understand why she seems to think he's responsible for fixing her financial problems when they're no longer in a relationship. Her debts are her own responsibility, not his, and it's called child support, not single mother support. This is where she seems to be confused. I guess someone needs to start looking for a job, because expecting your ex to pull you out of financial trouble is beyond unreasonable. At one point, she claimed she needed all these things for the kids, but it's clear that's not entirely true. She's really just trying to find a way to live off of him. That's the reality of it.
Well, you're entitled to it as a result,
to
okay.
support my needs.
You're entitled to it as a result of the divorce action, okay?
Okay. So it would come later, basically. Is
Yes.
that what you're saying?
Yes, that would come later, correct.
Okay.
So at this point, you can file for support, however, and
Yes.
you can file that at any time. So you can file that, and you can have a hearing on that, again, upon 9 days' notice. And notice
Okay,
that
so it's
for
like
any
spousal
Monday.
support. Is that what you're talking about? That I could file for that?
No, child support. If you
Child
want to
support?
file for spousal support, you have a right to file for that too. But
Okay.
you have to establish your factual and your legal basis for that. Okay?
For sure. I'm going to go file for child support sometime
Okay.
next week.
You do that and you provide that paperwork to the defendant, and then he has a right to respond, and then we'll consider that at the hearing.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you. Court will end this particular matter at 11:02 a.m. You're free to go. Have a good day.
Why does she think she's entitled to his taxes? He isn't behind on child support because obviously she hasn't requested any yet. She has friends talking in her ear. Damn, she's trying to end him financially. She wants to be retired and have other people pay her bills. She should be required to get a 40-hour-a-week job. How is this his responsibility? Women get a job like the rest of us. It's not cheap, but he needs a lawyer. It will save him all the headaches on dealing with this woman. My ex did the same thing. My lawyer killed the spousal support, pretty much told him I'd rather go to prison than pay. My 401k, she gets half from the time we were married and nothing more. Paid child support for about a year until my youngest finished high school. It's hard, but come out better in the long run. My best advice for this young man is to get himself a good lawyer, because he's going to need one. She seems like the type of ex who's coming for everything, and that's not something he should take lightly. The way she spoke about what she believes she's entitled to made it sound like he's still responsible for her, as if their breakup didn't change that dynamic. It's clear that, in her mind, just because they have children, it's still his job to make sure everyone in her household is taken care of, including herself. She genuinely seems to believe he's responsible for making her life easier, and that's where the confusion comes from. But I still think that he needs someone professional in his corner to guide him through this, because without proper representation, he'll likely end up spending far more than what it would cost to hire a lawyer. It was funny that not once did she mention what she plans to contribute toward providing for the kids, and honestly, getting a job would be a good place to start.
We're with Chris Brown's media team, and we're looking to bring some lovely women backstage. Are you guys a fan?
Yes.
Are you guys a fan of Chris Brown?
Yes.
Would you be okay with her going backstage with Chris Brown?
Yeah.
If you said no, I'd leave you.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah, probably.
You actually?
like
You're
the one
lying,
in a
right?
million
Like you're
show.
actually
Pardon?
playing around.
This was the one in a million show.
This was the
This
one
is
in a
like
million?
concert of a lifetime, yeah.
This is your concert of a lifetime?
Yes.
You're okay with that?
Of course.
How long
I
y'all been
trust
together
her.
for? You trust her?
Yeah. I've known her for
The
24
thing is that
years.
you trust these people when it comes to Chris Brown. It's a whole different story.
It's a whole different story. So you,
And-
I already know that.
And he knows
I already
it.
know that.
oh, so you give her up for Chris Brown, pretty much.
She'd have the hall pass, like the hall pass.
The hall pass?
probably.
The entire pass for Chris Brown.
All I will say is, don't be that guy.
Why not? Why wouldn't she?
That's crazy. Okay, we're gonna get your details.
Okay. Get out. I'm sorry.
I had a feeling.
I'm really
I had a
sorry.
feeling.
I'm sorry. There's one person only.
Being willing to throw away over 2 decades of marriage for a few minutes with someone who doesn't know or care about you is insane. She straight up told her husband that if he gets in the way of her chance to spend time with a stranger, she's done. So basically, if her husband isn't okay with her jumping into this adventure, she's ready to end their marriage over it. Did I get it right? What surprised me even more was how many women in the comments were supporting her, saying it's an opportunity they also wouldn't miss. But most of them seem to ignore the fact that he's just another guy, and somehow that detail keeps getting overlooked. We all know why her husband didn't speak up. It's obvious he doesn't agree, but he lacks the confidence to say anything, because he knows she'll leave if he pushes back. So he just accepted it, hoping to keep the relationship, though you have to wonder, at what cost?
If you are a man who has nothing, It's important that you date a woman who has nothing. And then you all have something in common. But for you to try and date a woman who has something and you have absolutely nothing, that just doesn't make sense. And yeah, I know that I would have men in my comments saying, well, what happened to building together? Absolutely. We build in our 20s, not after 35. After 35, we're looking for a man to match what we have accomplished. That's what you call smart dating. See, a single woman has to be careful dating a man who has nothing. Because oftentimes, a man who has nothing ain't looking for love. He's looking for help. Remember, I told you.
I appreciate her for making this point, and I really like the way she articulated it. But I do have one question. Can the same rule apply in reverse? Should a man who has something only date a woman who's in the same tax bracket? It's just a small question that came to mind after hearing her describe this as a smart dating strategy for her followers. I don't understand why everything has to be about money, especially when it doesn't determine the quality of a relationship. That's what people need to focus on more, rather than just finances. I think she overlooked the fact that while her audience is mostly women, guys are also listening to this message, and some of them might start applying the same logic in their own dating lives, and we all know how that would play out. There are going to be a lot more single women, as many are going to struggle to match those guys' income.
Because now, I used to do that when I was actually broke, go on dates. I done tried every restaurant in New York City, like top restaurant, because I was broke. I would go on these first dates just to eat food. But now that I got my own and I'm secure, like if I don't like you, I'm not going on a date with you. You're right about that. If I don't like you now, I'm like, I don't care for the food. Because I done tried every restaurant now. I don't have to go to prove anything and I'm not broke. I could pay for my own dinner. But before, when I was broke, I was going on dates for survival, to eat, like whatever.
Then there are women who think that guys who prefer a simple walk in the park or a coffee date must be broke, completely overlooking the fact that some people actually use dates just to get a free meal. And that's not fair to the guy who's spending his hard-earned money on someone who was never interested in him, just the food. Hopefully, videos like this help more people understand why those kinds of financial investments aren't always needed, especially when it's clear that some don't have a problem taking advantage of it. She even admitted it herself. When she didn't have money, that was the exact strategy she used to feed herself.
Hey, listen, I don't know who need to hear this, but that regular stuff you're doing for that girl is not tricking. You buying her food is a must. You buying her flowers is a must. Tricking is when you take her to Chanel and buy 2, 3, 4 purses. When you go to Louis Vuitton and pick out everything she wants and buy it. That is tricking. What you're doing is bare minimum. So I don't get y'all getting tricking and bare minimum confused. That's not how this works, twin. Like, the way I see it, bro, whatever you would want somebody to do for your mama, do it for your girl or the girl that you're interested in. Y'all be mad at me for making videos of me teaching y'all what to do. It's okay not to know how to treat a female, not to know da-da-da. I'm giving you the free game. If you don't listen, that's you, twin. But it's like, waste your own time, twin. Because she can find somebody like me, and I'm going to do it all. You're never going to get her back, twin. So like I'm saying, tricking is not the bare minimum stuff you're supposed to do. So once it's past bare minimum, then you're tricking. But it really ain't tricking unless you got it. So again, stop getting tricking confused with the bare minimum that you're supposed to do. Thank you.
This is what happens when simps have money, and somehow think they're in the right position to teach other men how to keep their women. It's ironic, really, because you never hear women speaking highly of the guys who use their money as a way to get their attention. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's a turnoff. Women are drawn to confidence. They want a man who doesn't need to rely on his wallet to spark interest. That's the part simps always seem to ignore. A woman will stay by your side because she wants to, not because you're paying her rent. That's simping, plain and simple, and the truth is that it rarely gets them far. She'll eventually leave anyway, for the confident guy she actually wants, the one who never had to spend money just to get her attention.